So yeah, come onto your back. And if you have sensitivity in your back or your neck, you can roll up a towel to come underneath, either the low back or the neck. Or you can just have a towel handy for that possibility. I didn't mention a strap, but I think that might be useful too. So if you don't have a strap, you can use a towel instead. But if you have one, have the strap handy. And we'll come onto our backs and draw the knees into the chest. And with your knees in your chest, you can stay perfectly still and just breathe for a few breaths, noticing what's happening in your low back. In your mid back. As you feel your body get comfortable and settle here, you might start to take your knees in really simple circles. If you hold on to your knees or even your thighs as you move, you can feel your body as it presses into the floor and how it changes as the relationship between your knees and your chest changes. So you can circle. You can change the direction of your circle at any time. And if there's a spot to linger in, you can always stop and pause and breathe. Letting the breath come in and letting the breath go out. The next time your knees move to the left, let them stay over to the left so you find a gentle spinal twist. And if there's sensitivity in your low back, you can take a towel rolled up in between your thighs or shins even to allow a little bit of support. And depending on your space, if you have some space, let your arms open up into a cactus shape if that feels okay on your shoulders. Giving the body the ability to take up some extra space when it's hot out is a nice way for the skin to cool you down. So inhale through your nose and exhale through the mouth. We'll take 3 more breaths here. You can make them as loud and breathy as you want them to be. Now, if this place is feeling good, you can stay right here or reach for your strap so that it's handy. We're not going to use it just yet. We're going to create some simple motion. Again, I'll clear the space. But you'll extend your right leg, your top leg, out over the line of your left knee. And then as slowly as you can muster, reach the right leg forward towards the lower tail of your mat. And once your leg is long down your mat, reach it straight up. Bend the right knee in towards your chest and guide it back over the left knee. So we're making this small circle. You can integrate breath. You don't need to get really rigid. with the breath happening at a specific moment, just that the breath is slow and steady. So as you feel ready, you extend the right leg out. Notice the strength that it takes to stabilize the right leg. Slowly but surely reach the right leg long down your mat. Pause here. Turn your toes up when you're ready for the next transition. Shift your right leg straight up towards the ceiling. And again, a little bend through the knee might feel good. As your knee comes up, bend it. Bring it across your body. Let the right knee stack on top of the left. Take a pause with a full breath each time you come here. And then we'll continue again with this simple circle, extending out the right leg. Reaching the right leg long. Turn the toes up for the transition skyward. When it can't go any higher, bend in the knee and slowly stack the right knee on top of the left. Pause for a breath in. And pause for a breath out. Last time through, extend the right leg over to the left. Slowly reach the right leg long down the long tail of your mat. Let the right toes turn up towards the ceiling. And this time with your right leg high, pause. Bring the sole of your left foot to the ground, and we'll pause right here. You can stay lifted or bend the right knee and take a strap over the right leg if you have it. Now with the strap around your right foot, you can hook your hands into the tails and allow your arms to be sort of heavy. So without activation, the weight of your arms becomes heavy. The right toes can turn towards the right shoulder, or you can rotate the toes out and rotate the toes in. Exploring what part of this range of motion feels interesting in your body. Interesting or compelling, or something that you notice has sensation attached to it. Now you can stay here or bend through the right knee and then extend up through the right heel so you get a little bit more length along the back line of your leg. Breathe in and out. You can always have your elbows on the ground, especially if your arms are feeling tired or your shoulders need extra support. So elbows resting on the floor and your hands can still loop into the strap. There's a way to make it accessible. Take a breath in. When you feel complete in your hamstrings, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Figure 4 is a pose that we all know and we're familiar with, and we've done a bunch of different ways. But for the first moment, instead of coming into the deepest variation of the shape, root down through your left foot, that's the one that's on the ground stabilizing, and take a little cat-cow type movement through the low back. So although I'm wearing black and you can't quite see it, on your inhale, you can let your belly come up. My hand actually could slide underneath the small of my back through this inhale. And with the exhale, you gotta move the hand so that the back can come flat to the floor. And as you undulate through the spine, inhaling and exhaling, you can start to notice how the changes of the spine also impact the pelvis. And maybe there gets to be this really interesting chicken and egg conversation in your mind where you notice whether it's the pelvis moving that moves the spine or the spine moving that moves the pelvis. And regardless of what conclusion you reach, there is change in both places. And there might be a specific spot that feels balanced from right to left, but also really interesting and integrated. After a few rounds of cat-cow, if you find a spot that feels like the right spot for your figure four, stay. Maybe you can hug your arms in around your left thigh. If there's a reason to be gentle with your shoulder, instead of holding on to your leg, you can stack some blocks underneath your left foot and just let the pressure of your left foot resting on something be enough. And if that's still not quite what you need, you can rest your left foot on the wall to create a little bit more support. And we'll take a moment's pause here. And it might be that you find that cat-cow undulation interesting even as you've hugged in. It might be that you just let your breath get really settled. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. It might feel nice on your back to take a gentle rocking again from side to side. As you're rocking, if you're rocking, take your hands off your left thigh. Let your right knee slide off the left. And bring your knees together so that you can keep the action of the rocking. And the next time your knees rock over to the right, let them both drop there. Your left arm can come into cactus shape. Your right arm could come into cactus shape. And if you need to shift or transition so that you're not too close to the wall, I'm going to turn around so that I don't kick the wall in a moment. Let your breath find a sort of ease again, the steady rhythm of breathing in and breathing out. If you need something between your knees or shins, a towel is good. You can also use a bolster if you have one. Take a breath in. And a breath out. When you're ready to move in a mindful way, you'll start the process of extending your left leg, your top leg out. Notice if your leg is dropping towards the floor and try to activate it enough that your heel is in line with your hip. Then take a slow extension forward towards the long end of your mat. When you can't extend anymore, take your left leg straight up towards the ceiling. When it can't go any higher, let your knee bend and gently rest it across. Taking a breath in your spinal twist and a breath out. When you're ready for movement again, extend the left leg out to the right. Slowly and steadily extend the left leg forward so that each part of your motion, there's a sense of stabilizing. When your leg can't go any farther forward, you turn your left toes up towards the ceiling, reach your left foot straight up. And when your foot can't go any higher, bend in the left knee, let the left knee stack on top of the right again. Breathe in. Then breathe out. Again now, inhale, extending when you're ready. Flowing through the motion in your own breath or your own cycle, the left leg will extend long and down. When you can't reach any farther down, turn the toes up, send the left leg straight up. Bend when you need to. Let the left knee stack on top of the right. A breath in, a breath out. One more time for good measure, extending out, lengthening forward. When your left leg is starting to come up, bring the sole of your right foot to the ground. And you can pause right here with the left leg lifted, or if you have a strap, bend in the left knee, take the strap over the left foot. You can also do this with a towel, so it doesn't have to be a fancy yoga strap. You could also use a belt. There's lots of options, but once your left leg is lifted, pause. And breathe again. There are a lot of opportunities for exploration. You can turn your toes in and your toes out. You can bend and extend the left leg. Any of these options are just to explore, just to notice. And if you're in this process of exploring and noticing, and there's a part you want to stay in, stay. If there's a part you want to avoid, just notice that. And you can look at the sensation. And observe how your breath reacts or responds. Let your breath come in and your breath go out. Well, the hamstrings can have this sort of unraveling quality, sort of like pulling a thread out of a sweater. You can watch it slowly come apart or feel the tension slowly release. When your body has gotten to a point where you feel you're done, you'll bend your left knee and cross your left ankle over your left thigh. Let's set your strap to the side for now because we're all set with it. Just pause and try to let your hips level from right to left. So sometimes I'll take my thumbs and sort of stick them right in my hip creases and try to find where level is. You can look if that feels okay. And from that level spot, reinitiate this cat-cow sensation. Arching on your inhale, still maintaining a relatively level pelvis from right to left, but maybe your hand can slide under when you breathe in. And when you exhale, you'll round back. You can take a few cat-cows. That hand sliding under thing, that isn't our primary thing today. We're just looking for the cat-cow. So if you're trying to reach your hand under, don't worry about it. It was more to check the space. As you move through your pelvis and your spine, breathing, there might be a different sense of reverberation through the body on this side. When you feel complete here, you might take your arms around your right thigh. You might take blocks and just set them underneath your right foot. You might choose to do neither of those things and just let your right leg rest on the floor. Let your breath come in. And your breath go out. In. And then back out. Often after a few breaths of really settling in, you can start to turn your awareness to your physical body. Maybe there's a part of your body that's clenching or tightening. That doesn't need to be. You can settle your shoulders down your back. Breathe in and breathe out. If you feel ready to start rocking again from side to side, you can bring the rocking action back in, shifting from side to side, massaging across the low back, the top of the bum. Those upper glute muscles do a lot to help support us. As you're rocking, when it feels easeful, you can separate the left knee or the left foot from the right knee and continue rocking with the knees from side to side. You can bring the knees close to your chest if that feels okay. And the next time your knees go to one side, use your hands to help you sit up from there. So you'll roll to your side and sit your body up. You can sit on a block or a stack of blocks. Let your knees come forward and set a block underneath your bum. Now, my knees are pointing straight ahead. My feet are pointing straight back. If you need to add more height, you can add a second block. If you don't have a second block, you could use books or something sturdy. But let your spine come to an upright position. We're going to do a little bit of wrist love. So in the place that feels appropriate. So for some of you, this will be keeping the hands low. For some of you, this will be bringing the hands in line with the shoulders. Wherever your hands go, let them be free so that your arms can have the space to move if they need to. And just shake out your hands. Try to let the shake be a turning from the wrist. Yeah, and breathe in. And again, you can do this low, you can do this higher up. Wherever you go with it, try to set your shoulders comfortably down your back so that we're really just letting the arms get a little bit of a shake out. Take a breath in and a breath out. in through the nose, and then back out. If you have the ability to lift a little bit and you want to, it will activate your arms differently as your arms start to lift up and out to the side. Now this is optional, so if it doesn't work to do it, you can just stay with the wrists low. Take a breath in. And a breath out. One more inhale. And as you exhale, slowly release your hands into your lap. We'll take some shoulder circles. You can make them very small, or you can make them big, bringing the shoulders up towards the ears, drawing back and down. Now let yourself have a few rotations where you just notice what you're feeling as you move through the shoulders. So you might feel like everything moves so easily and fluid. You might observe as you're making these circles that there's a spot or a side that feels crunchier. You can alternate and sort of explore and contrast. Or try to move both sides at the same time. Sometimes that's harder. When you feel complete from right to left and forward and backwards, pause, sit tall, and draw your chin ever so slightly back. We'll get a little bit of neck love. So you can take your left ear towards your left shoulder. Really simple side stretch. And take a breath in. And a breath out. You can make this sensation feel a little longer by letting your right hand drop by your right hip. Some folks will like to reach the arm out to the side. Any angle where you feel it is enough, but you might choose not to. You might choose just to let the neck go to the side and observe. Let your breath come in. And your breath go out. If your right arm is extended out, you'll bring it back to your lap first. Use your left hand to gently guide your head to center and pause. Take a breath in and a breath out. Keeping your head neutral, press through the tops of your feet. On an inhale, you'll press down, lift your body up so that your hips stack over your knees. So coming to upright. If it feels okay to lift the arms up in that motion, do it. If it doesn't, you can keep your hands down at your hips. But so it becomes a sort of mini sun salutation. With your exhale, slowly lower your hands to your thighs and your hips back towards the blocks. Okay. Take a breath in and a breath out. We'll do that twice more. On your inhale, lift your hips up so they stack over your knees. Maybe they can come a little forward of your knees and there's a slight back bend. Gaze shifts up, maybe your arms shift up. With your exhale, slowly lower back, down, hips to blocks. One more time. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, slow motion, lower back down. Try to settle into your hips so that the weight's even from right to left and you can land your hands back in your lap. Your chin draws back and you'll let your right ear move to your right shoulder. So second side of the neck stretch. Breathe in and breathe out. can take your left arm out to the side if that feels good. If it doesn't, don't bother. Try to let your breath find a sense of steadiness. Excuse me. You can stay here another moment longer, exploring the reaching out through the left arm. When it feels like enough, you'll set your left hand in your lap again. Use your right hand to guide your head back to center. I'll turn sideways for this next bit, but again, keeping the blocks underneath your bum. You'll inhale, your hips up, maybe your arms up. And as you exhale, you'll come back down. We'll do that twice more, just working to slowly move so that we're using muscles in the thighs. So inhaling your way up, and maybe your arms come up, maybe they don't. Exhaling, hips back down. This time we'll add something slightly different, which is why I've shifted to the side. So inhale up, arms can come up or stay at center chest, but here, curl your toes under behind you. And as you exhale, you can use your hands for support, but you'll shift your weight back so that your feet come flat onto the floor. Forward fold at the back of your mat. You can use the blocks that were under your hips for support in your folds. Take a breath in, find a long spine, chest forward, hips back. And with your exhale, drop your head and let it shake or loosen out. You can wiggle or shake your head, yes and no, or just sway here. Breathing in and breathing out. With your feet at hips width distance or slightly wider, take another breath in, getting long through your back. Bend your knees as much as you need to start to shift the weight back towards your heels. And you'll roll your way slowly up to stand. I'll turn towards you again. With your feet at hips width distance, inhale and get tall through your spine. You can take your arms up if that helps, but if it's not going to help, don't worry about it. Breathe in here. And with your exhale, bring your hands to center. Okay. So starting to find some sense of balance, we'll shift the weight into the left foot. You can soften in the left knee to help keep the quad receptive, but you'll bring the right foot up and either tap the right foot against your calf, tap the right toes against the floor, or tap the right foot in on your left thigh. Now, if any of these places makes you feel tippy, you just change the position so that there can be a sense of active contact between the part of your left leg that is being touched and the part in the right foot pushing into one another. And as you're here, let the right knee reach out to the side. Maybe your hands stay low. Maybe they reach out like a tightrope walker. Breathe in and breathe out. Now, if balance is something that you're really working to practice, you can have a hand near a bookshelf, near the wall, and just, I'm using the back of my hand on the bookshelf so that it's there as a reminder, but I'm not gripping. And it can be something you can just use with the lightest of touches so you can start to train your body away from it. Take a breath in and a breath out. In through the nose and out through the mouth. We'll take one more breath here. And with your exhale, you'll take your flying foot, step it wide towards a warrior two. It can be a wide warrior two or a short warrior two, depending on what your body needs. But you'll step your right foot out, stack the right knee over your right heel, and take a moment to wiggle in, letting the hips land in line with one another. You can keep your hands on your shoulders today. We'll do some shrugs, or excuse me, hands on your hips. We'll do a little bit of shrugging. So take a breath in here. And with your exhale, just ever so slightly draw the elbows back in space. Inhale, and the elbows can come wide. Exhale, draw the elbows back in space. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more time. Breathe in. And as you exhale, the elbows draw towards one another behind your back. On an inhale this time, extend through the front leg. Let your hips shift back towards the left leg. So we're setting up triangle, but we're going to keep the hands towards the hips today. Unless you really want extra support for the block for the right hand or something low. Take a breath in, keeping your hands on your hips. Try to turn your upper body so that it's facing the direction your eyes are facing. So sometimes the eyes and the chest start to turn down. Let your chest turn towards the wall across from you. And you can stay right here or take a breath in. And with your exhale, ever so slightly draw your elbows in, and it helps you to lengthen your spine. You can keep with that same breath cycle, inhaling the elbows out, exhaling the elbows in. Or if it would feel better, you can slide your right hand down and maybe take your left hand high. But again, this gentle hugging in and snugging in asks a little bit more activation through the side body. And it helps you to find a sense of length through the spine here, which can be elusive. Was that a question? I heard a little noise. Always feel free to call the questions out. If you have them, you can type them into the chat and I'll see them if you don't feel comfortable shouting it out. When you feel done, take a breath in. With your exhale, bend back into your right knee. Level your hips off. Notice how much your upper body turned towards your leg, even though you were trying to bring it more forward. And we'll start to toe heel the feet back in. Standing in mountain, just to notice the difference between one side and the other. Breathe in. And breathe out. Allow your shoulders to be over your hips and your hips to be over your heels. Take a breath in. With your exhale, softly bend in both knees, which makes it easier to transfer the weight. Your weight will shift into your right leg this time. And your left foot can come against your calf, your thigh, or even tapping the toes to the ground, anywhere that lets you find stability. Now you can keep your hands low towards your legs. You can send your arms out, which sometimes helps distribute the weight. And again, if you need support and you're not near a wall, you're welcome to move to a wall and either use the outside of your hand, or another trick that's helpful is to press the elbows back into the wall so that you can peel them off if you don't need them, but they're there if you feel like you're falling. Set your breath so that it's consistent and steady and support. Let your breath come in. And let your breath go out. We'll aim for 3 more steady breaths. Even if those breaths involve you falling and tumbling down, totally fine. But keep the breath steady. We'll take another inhale and another exhale. When it's time to move, a soft bend through the right knee can help. You'll step the left foot as wide as it goes, which might be a really short warrior two stance. Just walk yourself into a wider one, or a comfortable one, I should say. Take a moment to shift your hips from side to side or even in a circle until you find that place where they're level forward and backwards, and also with a relatively neutral space in the low back. Hands back onto the hips, the left knee is over the left heel. Take a breath in. And we'll just gently draw the elbows back. Noticing how that helps to center your upper body over your pelvis. Breathe in. And as you exhale, hug in. 2 more. Breath in. Exhale. 1 more time. Breath in. And out. This time, inhale and extend your front leg, your left leg in this instance. And you can notice how your hips have to shift towards your right leg. That's all right. Try to keep your upper body long over the line of your left leg. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, hug your elbows in. And you might stay here doing that exact work, breathing in and hugging the elbows in as you exhale. Or you breathe in. And maybe you slide your left hand down your leg and reach your right arm high. Either is fair game. Steady in through the breath. And steady out through the breath. One last breath in here. With your exhale, let your left knee bend, lowering the hips and slowly steadying the upper body back over the hips. Take a deep breath in to notice uprightness. And as you exhale, you'll start to walk the feet in to a hips width distance stance. Standing in mountain one last time before we get to the floor. Notice your feet. Notice your calves. And take a breath in. Notice if your knees are locking or if there's a slight softness. Bring your awareness into your thighs, your pelvis, your abdominals, and your back muscles. And take a breath in and a breath out. And while you're standing, take another breath or two to notice the way your breath changes the felt and experienced sensation across your mid-back, your shoulders, and your chest. Because each breath creates a change there. Breathing in and breathing out. As we prepare to transition, some folks like the dramatic action of reaching the arms up. You're welcome to do this. Inhaling the arms high if that works in your body. And as you exhale, you'll bend in your knees and fold straight down. Similar to before, find a long, flat back. But this time, use your hands for support to guide your knees down. You can sit back towards your heels for a moment, or find your blocks if that's helpful. Take a breath in, getting tall through the body. And a breath out. Okay. Inhale your way into table, hands and knees, just long enough to cross your ankles underneath you and sit back into a crisscross position or a cross-legged position. And we'll take a moment here. Different seat, different things. Breathe in through your nose, get tall through the spine. And exhale through the mouth. Now, whichever foot landed on top, extend that leg forward. Using the crisscross, cross-legged shape as a way of checking in with your body and noticing preferences. We'll take a seated forward fold. If seated implies that you end up rounding backwards through the spine, grab this towel or a towel that you folded and you can just rest it underneath your hips for a little extra support, so that when you're starting, you're beginning with an upright spine. Now from here, get tall, take a breath in. And maybe this is where you stay because you're already feeling enough through your right leg. Maybe your hands come forward and your spine stays long. You can treat each of these options like bus stops. Just get off at the bus stop that makes sense for you. And begin to sort of walk your hands forward. Again, pausing at the stop that makes the most sense for you. If you start to round in your back, whether it's your upper back or your low back, go backwards on that bus. Put it in reverse. And take a breath. And let your right or your extended legs, toes turn up towards the ceiling. Breathe in. And breathe out. Okay. As you're ready to sit up, pause. Your extended leg will stay extended, but your bent knee is coming up. You can set the sole of the bent knee's foot in line with the extended leg's knee. So there's roughly the same distance there. And then get tall, holding on to your bent knee, lifting your chest up. Breathe in. Now the hand that's the same as the extended leg, keep that on your bent knee. Bring your bent knee's hand behind your back and just look away from the extended leg side. Seated spinal twist. Now if you feel caught on your belly, which is happening more and more to me, you can take your left foot or your bent knee's foot a little wider or even a slight bit forward just to give the belly some space. Take a breath in, getting really tall, and turn away from your extended leg. One more inhale and exhale. When it's time to switch sides, you come forward first. Extend the bent leg out. Hug the extended leg in for Janu Shirshasana. So you'll bend what was your extended leg into a little fold. Sit up tall again. Sometimes I fall off my supports, so you have to sort of tuck them back under. You want to feel with whatever you have under your bum that you're able to sort of root evenly across your pelvis, so that there's a solid foundation there. You'll sit up tall, take a breath in. And you can press down into your hands to get really tall, or start to walk the hands forward. Keeping each time you pause or each time your hands land, use them for support to root into your hips and get long again. Maybe you stay, maybe your hands move forward. And breathing and using the breath to help you root. Maybe your hands go forward, maybe they don't. Breath comes in, breath goes out. Awesome. One more inhale. One more exhale. When it's time to come out, you walk your hands back in towards you. Use your hand for support to bring your bent knee up. Set it in line somewhere near your extended legs knee. And you can hold on to the bent knee with both hands to sit up taller. When you're ready to twist, you take your hand that is opposite the extended leg and put it behind your back, just turning away from your extended leg. Breathing in to get tall. And turning as you breathe out. It doesn't have to be the deepest twist of all time. You're just looking to rotate. Let your breath come in and your breath go out. One more inhale. And with your exhale, twist a little more first and return to seated. You'll extend both legs out. Now, we're coming towards Shavasana or final rest. There are a few ways to get there. If there's something under your bum, take it out. If you would like something underneath your legs, you can slide it in now, like a bolster or some towels. And provided you have enough space behind you, you can make this a slow active motion, slowly lowering. If there's tenderness in your low back, you'll turn sideways first, walk your hands back, and then bring your body down. Allow the legs to extend out over something or however is comfortable. If you have a towel handy, you can roll it under your neck. Oh, let your body find that sense of ease. And if for some reason it doesn't feel good to be on your back today, you're welcome to take easy seat and meditate instead. If you have the ability to stay in final rest longer than I'm cueing, please stay. Take this shape as long as it feels right for you. But as you're ready, you'll take a breath. And with your exhale, press into your feet, bringing one at a time to the ground, the soles of each foot. You can use your feet for support to roll you onto your side. Pausing in a little ball, resting your forehead on the ground. Take another breath in. And as you're ready, you'll press into your hands to sit yourself up in any way that's comfortable. Sit up tall, take a breath in, and a breath out. Land your hands, one on top of the other. At the center of your chest. We'll take a breath in and a full breath out. Let yourself acknowledge your body and mind and spirit for participating in your practice. Acknowledging the challenges and the spaces of ease. Take a breath. And acknowledge anyone who supports you in this practice or process of being with yourself. Whether it's that you've created the time for yourself or there's someone that helps you get here. We'll take another breath. Bow your chin to your chest in acknowledgement of yourself and your community. May all beings be peaceful. Thank you for sharing practice.